Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got something special for you today. Well, as you well know, I do a lot of mixing and mastering for different folks, and a good friend of mine named DJ EL Conductor, who I met here in Sacramento and collaborated with, has sent me some stems for a track he's working on, and he's doing some chill hop, hip hop stuff, you know, and it sounds pretty cool. He sent me a WAV file this morning, and I thought I would use this opportunity to share with you how I'm gonna mix his track, and it shouldn't take too long, so I'm trying to get it under 30 minutes here for you. So here it is right here. It's called In a Funky Mood. As you well know, we're in California, and the election just popped off yesterday, and we found out this morning the results. People in California are not happy, but, you know, it puts everybody in a funky mood, right? So, but life goes on, music goes on, and today I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to this track here. So let's get started. So it looks like he sent me some bass, looks like some DJ cuts, some drums, some keys, and some other keys that are some effects. So let's start with the drums and take a listen to see what these things do. Ooh, they slap. Okay, very nice. Let's see what this bass line is. Okay. All right, well, yeah, there's some picking in there. Okay, that sounds cool. Let's see what this is. Oh, some scratches. Of course, he's a DJ, so. Damn, that's clean. All right, and some keys. Okay. All right, and then what's this? Interesting. Okay, well, we have a track. This is going to be interesting. So first thing I like to do is identify the BPM. Looks like he's got it set for 90 BPM, so let's turn that on. And then in Logic Pro, I'm going to put it on custom so I can see everything, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the start and end point to where it needs to be. Turn on my metronome. Okay, he uses Ableton Live. I use Logic Pro. So Ableton does a really good job on quantizing things, and I'm not sure what he has quantized in here, but so far from start to finish, sounds like it's spot on, so I don't need to cut off any of the intros here or any of the stems. So let's start with our drums. First things I like to do is just go ahead and put an EQ on there, try to get that, get it bumping a little bit. Turn off my metronome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and turn on, we'll put this channel EQ by Logic Pro on and just go to the 2020, take 20 hertz off both ends here. Just because there's stuff in the human ear cannot hear in those drums, and you know, just trying to make sure that the track is not muddy going in. So here we go. Okay, and about 60 hertz, I'm going to just go ahead and just give it a little boost here. Not just enough, maybe like 1 decibel, and then tighten it up here. There we go. And maybe a little boost on the high end here around 2480. Okay, sounds cool. Let's go ahead and add a compressor on there. Now there's different settings in Logic's compressor, which I think is amazing. So I'm just going to go ahead and use some of this. I'm going to try classic drums. Now these are different types of compressors. I'm going to use Logic's digital or platinum digital. And when you use some of the FETs, they automatically mirror or kind of model some of the older compressors out there, but I'm just going to go ahead and use Logic's compressor because I think it's still great. And I noticed that it put this distortion on, and this is like a saturation. So I'm going to try a soft, and then I'm going to watch the needle move. So I'm going to start with the threshold all the way down at 0 and just watch it move. So far, nothing. Okay, oh, I forgot to mention, auto gain is on, so let's turn that off. We don't need to boost the signal. We just need to work that compressor and get these drums slapping. So here we go. Woo. Wow. Wow. It's a little hot, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and highlight all these and just bring down the volume on everything. It's just really hot. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, we just want the drums to pop a little bit, so I'm going to bring that to 2 to 1 and take a look at my meters here. Got a little bit going on here. So rule of thumb, what you take away, you have to add. So it looks like it's hitting around 1 dB, so I'm going to add about 1 dB there. Okay, got the soft. Let's see what it sounds like with it off. It is very soft. Let's go to the soft distortion. And then we're going to turn on the hard on. Just kidding. Let's see what it sounds like. I think soft is just about there. We don't want to overdo it because I don't know what the artist put on his drums to get it slapping like this, but it sounds good. I don't normally get stems that sound this good. And if you listen carefully, it looks like there's some grit between the samples, or between the transients here. Yeah, it's pretty noisy, and it sounds like it's mono, but then I hear a signal on the left and right sound, right and left. So let's try this real quick. I just hear something going on there. Here's mono. Oops, oops, turn that off. There we go. And then let's take it back to stereo. I'm going to leave it stereo. When you do like a lot of lo-fi, a lot of times the drums are mono just to get that aesthetic and just that very vintage tone. But the drums are there. I mean, I kind of like the noise on the right and left side. So we're going to leave that and just move on. Okay, so let's move on to the bass. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I can tell already that this sounds like this was stem split from maybe an original track. Mason did show me the original track. I'm not going to share with you guys because I don't want any, like, you know, infringement on using somebody else's track. But he did a good job on separating some of these stems and made it his own and shows bits and pieces of it. And which a lot of artists do. We do recycle beats, you know, if they're good, or music stems. And I think this is a really good example of a bass line that's being recycled and used in this very interesting compilation here, or compilation. I'm sorry, piece of music. So let's keep it. We'll keep it stereo. Let's see what else is stereo here. We'll make them all stereo to start off with. Okay. Composition is what I meant to say. Here we go. Okay. Let's see what it sounds like mono. It's a hard decision. We'll have to hear it in its entirety. So let's go ahead and just add our EQ and listen to that bass line, and we'll keep it stereo. Immediately, I want to hear some of that bass rumble. So I'm going to go to the 2020, turn those the high end and low end just off a little bit. Now that picking could be a problem if it's clashing with the snare or hi-hat, but I think the artist wanted this to be there so you can hear the live bass picking. So let's go ahead and keep that. And now we're going to add a compressor. So again, these stems are pretty well made. And again, I don't know if the artist added anything to it, if these are just the dry samples, but it is what it is, and we're going to work with it. So let's keep going. Okay, and there is a preset in here for the bass. We can try this light bass comp, and it immediately slams it. So we're going to go ahead and just bring this down, and then 2 to 1. What you take away, you want to add. Let's add some soft grit to it. Maybe turn on the limiter, so it gives it that ceiling. So we'll take more control, so the limiter at the tail end of our mastering doesn't have to work as hard, right? Okay, let's listen to it with the drums. And so we're going to go ahead and just put a loop point here. I used to use the cycle here in Logic Pro. That's my DAW of choice here. And let's listen. I'm liking this a lot. Okay, cool. We're just going to come back to that. And again, we'll come back and we'll gain stage everything here. So let's go over and listen to the cuts he's got. Cool. Honestly, it sounds like El Conductor, yep, he did. He did a good job on cutting some of those low signals out. I'm just going to turn them on anyways. And I don't have to do any fancy effects because it sounds like he's added his effects to it. Maybe he had effects on his mixer, but it sounds cool. And all we're going to do is just add a little bit of compressor to it to make it pop a little bit. Now, again, I'm using a lot of Logic's built-in plugins. They're that good. This is not a EDM track where it requires a lot of attention, where everything needs to listen to everything, but we're going to give it that attention to a certain extent. So let's listen to the cuts here and let's put that off. We don't need to use any saturation for distortion. I'm going to give it a faster release, because it is cutting, so we want it to come back a little faster here. And let's let that attack just look at that knee. That sounds cool. Okay. And I'm putting the plugins directly on the tracks themselves. There's no reason to bust this out. I mean, the drums are all put together. It's not like there's 30 pieces of drums and I have to assign them to a bus. So I can get away with adding a compressor into just the one stem here in the drum track here. And so those cuts sound good. Let's go over to the, let's see what this is. Okay, so this is some sort of chords going on. Let's go ahead and add our EQ. Take a listen to it. A little bit noisy on that low end. You don't want it to conflict with the bass or the kick of the drum, because a lot of energy is there. I like it. It's very subtle. Let's go ahead and add a compressor. Turn off that auto gain. Play around with that release. There is a keyboard. Put that off. Okay, this is good. This is good. Now, sometimes you'll add an EQ, add a compressor, and then you may want to add another EQ, because the compressor will actually bring out some of that frequency. So let's take another listen here. In fact, I'm going to add this other EQ by FabFilter, which is the Pro Q3. I like it because it analyzes, and if you leave your mouse down below in the purple area, you'll see it'll show you the high points that need attention. Now, this could be a problem here. We're just going to dip this down a little bit, and we can solo this by, I think you'd play it and then click on here. Yeah, definitely. That ringing is all I heard. There's another one here, and we'll tighten up that low end, or that frequency, and listen to it. Yeah. Now, I have headphones on. You may not be able to hear that if you're on an iPad or an iPhone or an Android, but I can hear it with these headphones on. These are made by Slate Digital, and they're very accurate. And there's a lot of headphones out there that can simulate what I'm hearing now. I just happen to choose Slate. Let's see. Okay, let's keep going. All right, that's sounding pretty good. No problems there. So now we're going to go ahead and listen to the last stem here, and I'm not sure what it is, but here we go. Okay, very similar to the keys, but it's got like maybe like it almost sounds like Jimi Hendrix. What's that track called? I've just drawn a blank here, but it sounds like the intro of one of Jimi Hendrix tracks, but it's not, obviously. But let's go ahead and just drop our EQ on there. Get 2020. Get rid of some of that low end. We don't need it there. And then maybe drop some of that 40 hertz there. Okay, and then I'm not sure if we need a compressor on there, but we're going to throw it on there anyway, just because we're having some fun. And we'll do a very light compressor, quick response, and start with the threshold. Okay, just to kind of tame that a little bit. Let's listen to it together. Chunky. We just need some chips to go with that salsa there, huh? Yeah. All right. This is sounding pretty good. Now let's get a little organized. We do know that BPM is at 90 BPM. Logic's pretty cool. There's all kinds of the fun stuff in here. I'm just going to go ahead and color my tracks here. Let's see. Let's just give that a red. We'll go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. Now, let's get to some shaping here. A lot of these hip hop tracks use something called side chaining. And they use compressors. I like to use a gate. Logic Pro's got this really good plugin called Gate. And let's try it out. So we're going to go ahead and try one of the keys here. And we're going to go ahead and add the gate to the end of the chain here. So let's go ahead and find it. Dynamics, noise gate. There we go. And it doesn't have a side chaining track yet. So before I started this this tutorial here, I went ahead and cut up some of the kicks here on this track, and we're going to borrow the kicks and drop them right underneath the drums here so that we can use the kicks to sidechain too, so we can duck out some of the signal every time the kick hits. You see this a lot, and you hear it a lot in EDM music and electronic music, and so it's and a lot of hip hop artists use it too because it gives it that call and response feel, that kick, so you can kind of feel like it's breathing a little bit. So let's go ahead and grab that, and I believe I probably have that in here. Yeah, I do. There they are. There's some, not a whole lot though. Let's find out what's going on. Let's kill that, and let's go into the other track here real quick. Let's drop that. Now I have one here. Thought I bounced out the, let's see. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. All right, so I already did some of the groundwork already because that's the part that takes the longest. And that's just isolating these kicks and putting them on its own individual track. Now, I don't need any fancy effects on there. And I don't need a stereo output. We're going to go no output. So this is going to be called side. I'm going to go ahead and name it now. Side. In fact, Mason did cut on here, and I think I have his. Yeah, I made an icon for him. There's your boy right there. Look at that handsome young man. Anyhow, so let's listen to see and hear what this is doing to the keys. So I'm going to go ahead and get back to that noise gate that I added to the tail end of all of these plugins here. And I'm going to go ahead and tell the sidechain in Logic Pro that we're going to listen to that side, okay? And that's aux 3 or audio 3. All right, and I made a quick little preset in here. It's nothing big. Threshold's at -8, ducking's at -8, attack at 4, hold is at 0, and the release is at some random 142. If you want this preset, just let me know. Just DM me, and I'll send it out to you. But let's take a listen and see what it's doing as it's listening to the side kicks here. Okay, hear that? Let's make it more drastic. It's a little much, right? We're going to go ahead and undo that. Cool. And so we did it on that one. Let's go ahead and let's do it on the scratches. There we go. And then hit paste and then put that side on. It's looking good. Okay. I'm liking this. And then let's go to the keys down here and maybe do the same there. Noise gate and paste. Put that side on. Okay, now I really haven't done any gain staging. Mason did a pretty good job. The volumes on some of these stems are pretty much there. I mean, if I just put them together and bounced it out, it's listenable, right? But we still got some work to do here. So we're going to go ahead and just quickly, there's bass too. So let's put that on the bass. So I'm going to go noise gate, paste, and then we'll go ahead and use that side. And now let's listen to it, and let's get these levels quickly balanced here so we can do a master for it. I'm going to open up the mixer. There we go. And I'm going to quickly put some meters on so I can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to go and add a mastering chain that I have and start turning off these plugins. I don't need them all on, and just turn on this multimeter here. And I'm going to hold that there so I can see it. Now I can tell right now that snare is slapping at 1K. So let's listen to that. Now what I could do is go into the Pro Q3, which is Fab Filter, and listen to it. It's knocking about right here, I think. So let's bring that down. Yeah, I don't want to take too much away. We're just going to give it a little nudge there. Okay, just enough. It doesn't need a whole lot. Okay. In fact, I think that the EQ I put on that kick might be too much. These drums were just already there. I mean, it could just be the compressor overdoing it. So let's take a look at the compressor on those drums. Yeah, it's a little much. Just kind of bring down that threshold so it's just nudging it. Okay, a little better. And now let's listen to the whole track and open up that mixer again. Command 2. It's a shortcut on Logic Pro to open up your mixer. And here's your drums. Here's your side. That has no audio. You can hear it. That's the bass. Here's some scratches. Now, Mason's, he's a DJ, so we want to hear those scratches come out because it is an instrument. So listen to it. I need those to come out a little more. Make sure that side chain is on. Yeah, it might be a little hard. We're just going to go and bring it down. Okay, cool. I think we got what we need so far. I mean, it's nice. Okay, let's get back to our mastering chain. So the first thing on my mastering chain I have over here is my gain. Logic has a built-in gain, and the reason why you want to use your gain is because you need to get that level down so you can add your mastering. So the plugins like limiter and compressor need something to grab onto, but if it's already peaked out, there's nothing for it to grab onto because it's already hitting the ceiling. So we're going to use the gain control to lower that. So let's just listen. So we're pretty hot there, so let's turn it on. As you can see, it's giving us, we're way below, so it's going to bring that up a little bit. We're going to get it around -6. Normally what people do is they would bounce out their track without any mastering and then bring it back in as a stereo file into Logic Pro. And then they won't have to use this gain. But since for this demonstration in this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and do everything in one project. Okay, so go ahead and add that on. The next thing on my list is the linear linear phase EQ. And I have the 2020 turned on at 20 hertz off the high end. Those are frequencies you cannot hear. I just added as a safeguard so it doesn't destroy the mix at the tail end. It's just something you don't really need on, but you could. So let's listen to it. Doesn't really do much. It's just very subtle. Okay, I put that on here. I think an old house head showed me that. And now this is Waves Poigtec. And again, you don't have to use this. Logic Pro has one. It's in here. I think it's under the EQ tools somewhere in here. Let's see if we can find it. It's here, and then we go to Vintage Collection, and I think it would be under Console EQ. I think this would be equivalent to what we're seeing here. Maybe not. Maybe there's another one. Let's take a look. There's the phase EQ. Well, anyhow, it's here, and I think it would probably be the graphic EQ. Was it this one or tube EQ? Let's see. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. So this is exactly what this is. You can see it's got its low frequency and it's got its high frequency. I just happen to use waves because I'm very good at using it, and I haven't really played around with this, but it looks like there's some extra things here for phasing, which you don't see in this one. This is really mirrors the old Poigtec equalizer EQ from way back in the day, and this one here is Logic's, which does a really good deal of modeling. So we're going to go ahead and kill that for a sec. And then I'm going to take that off because we don't need it. So let's listen and see what it does. So the first thing I like to do is I like to boost up 3 decibels at 30 hertz. And then what we're going to do is boost up the high end. We're going to bring that down, and we do it at 12,000. So this is the high frequency. This is a low frequency. Let's listen. Sometimes just turning it on sounds good, but we're going to go ahead and just let it play. I'm going to boost up that low end. And then here's the highs. Hear that sizzle? Nice. Now, I don't want to add too much high end because this is a lo-fi track or a chill hop track, and it's not an EDM track where everything needs a sizzle on the high end and the low end needs to be exaggerated. We're just putting enough in there so that when we do put our mastering plugins, it grabs onto something. Next on the list is the multi-band Pro MB Fab Filter. And I'm just using the preset called Master Tighter Low Ends. And this is going to control the bass and the kick. So let's listen to that. And if I click in this area, it opens up the threshold. This is off. And as we add it, I'm going to roll it in. And that's just going to glue the bass and the kick together a little bit. Okay, that sounds pretty close and pretty good. So again, this track didn't need too much. So let's go ahead, and this is Slate Digital's virtual mix rack. The only thing I use this, and again, it's got a lot of different plugins you can use, and this is like having they call it a lunchbox that you would buy, and you'd buy into the individual modules to put in there. And again, you got your EQs, you got different types of EQs and different ways of sweeping, a virtual channel EQ, which does a really good job for drums. But I'm just going to be using this distressor, which is the FG Stress. And let's turn it on, and I'll show you what it does. It just adds a little bit more grit to the low and high end at once, and it glues things together. So I just want it to barely touch that GR here. It's already there, so I don't even need to touch it because I've already presetted this. So that's good. We're going to close that out. And that's really not much to look at there. And you can add whatever you like there. Let's see. Kramer. Gosh darn, this is so cool. A lot of people are into that analog sound. And what this does is just that. You have a noise control here. If I turn it up, you hear the hiss. Yeah, it definitely makes the track more interesting when you have this on because it gives it that analog tape sound, but a little bit can be too much. So we're going to just roll it off to about 30. Now it is there. Now it's just giving our compressor, when we get to the mastering, something to grab onto. And I think there was an artist named Deadmau5 that talked about this. He would just sample air on top of his building, and then he would have a compressor after it so he can grab onto something. And it just made the sound, the track sound more beefier. So it's a very interesting thing to use, this Kramer tape. But we're going to go ahead and move forward. That's on just for the aesthetic, basically, and to give it that analog tone. And I'm just using the mastering clean option. And then there's a preset down here somewhere, somewhere in here. I'm sorry for blowing into the mic. It's here. If you want this preset, let me know. I'll DM you, or just DM me and I'll send it to you. But it's there, and I just play around with the noise, and all these dials are just already presetted here. I think the most important part is the speed. So you can make it a lot slower, but I have it faster so it's listening to the transients and sample rate. Okay, so let's turn that off. And then the next thing on the list looks like our Ozone. And I don't use Ozone 9. Let's switch it over to Ozone 10. There is an Ozone 11 and probably even a 12. I don't know. Can't keep up with all the plugins, but whatever fits your fancy. Let's get into Isotope 10. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Okay, let's move forward here. I know we're at about 30 minutes here. So let's do this. This is a really good plugin. There's a lot of AI plugins out there, but Ozone is it for me. I'm going to cheat and try using the AI, and what it's going to do is it's going to listen to the track and calculate what it needs for EQ, compressor, and limiter. So let's go ahead and just fire it up and give it a noisy section of the track. So let's start it right here where the bass and everything's playing, and let's let it run. Here we go. And it's listening. So it's building a chain. All systems are a go. So let's take a listen. Take a look and listen what it did. Already you can kind of hear the high end. If you have headphones on, I highly suggest putting some headphones on so you can really hear the dynamics. It's a little exaggerated, and let's see what it did with the stabilizer. Let's play it. Wow, that imager. So it thought that the bass low end kicks were a little stereo. And remember I mentioned in the very beginning that it sounds like the drums were in the middle, but there were some signals on the sides. So we're going to go ahead and just adjust that. Not going to spend too much time, but let me just solo the low end on this, the imager. And what you're hearing there, if you have headphones on, guys, you can hear the kick and bass going on. So I advise you put some headphones on and listen to this. Okay. I can tell right now there's some clipping going on, and that's because this suggested this hard maximizer. So I'm going to go ahead and put it at the ceiling at negative 0.1 so it's not clipping at unity gain, and I'm going to roll off the threshold and just bring it back. Now, in order to monitor how much I'm putting in, I need to put a tool up, and Logic Pro's got something called a level meter. Okay, now this level meter is important, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Now, you can click on this level and choose. I chose to use True Peak and RMS because I want to see what perceived loudness sounds like versus what it's actually doing. So I put it at negative 9 decibels. In the industry, they can get it up to 6 and sometimes even at 3. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. And it's called loudness wars. These guys are just going too extreme. But you don't want it. It's not an EDM track. It's more of a laid back chill, have some wine, chill in the backyard with your girl, with the fire on, or with your boys. Who knows? Let's play it back and take a listen and really dial in that maximizer. Oh, we got to turn off that solo for the. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. So we don't need this exaggerated of these highs and stuff. This is just the AI talking. And that's the difference between using AI and using your human ears is you can send it off to some mastering house that's virtually online, and they will use tools like this and put it in there and set it and forget it, and they send it back to you and it's done. Well, you compare it to other people's tracks that have used, someone like myself that are going hands-on. There's a huge difference. I mean, for one, I will tell you if your track is too hot, like the bass is just way too loud, or the vocals are too loud, or they're too soft. That's the human experience you get with somebody who's doing a mastering for you versus somebody who using a digital website who will take in your track and just quickly get it done within like a matter of seconds, and it's just whatever floats your boat, man. If that's what you're using, go for it. But really try to use someone, a human being, and try to get their services to work for you. Okay, so let's move on. I don't want to talk too much about that. It gets boring. So here we go. So EQ's not that bad. Let's look at the impact here. This is how those transients are hitting. And then my dynamics, those are hitting too hard right there. So there's a built-in multi-band compressor in here that's really doing a good job in isolating some problems in the track. Okay, now we already have compressors on each and every one of these tracks, okay? But now I want to glue them together, and there is a little bit of compressors in some of this where is it? My dynamic EQ has a built-in compressor that you can adjust, but I'm going to go ahead and add a vintage compressor inside this plugin here. So I'm going to go ahead and look for a vintage compressor, and I noticed that it dropped it after the maximizer. You want your compressor in every effect to be before your limiter. Sorry, your limiter is the last thing you want to put on because that's the ceiling. That controls everything. So let's go ahead and listen to that the virtual compressor, and I'm going to put it 2 to 1. Okay. And I just want it to touch a head just a little bit. Just put the head in there just a little bit. See how it's poking through a little bit? Not bad. And that's just to get things a little bit more balanced. Now you will do a different mix for house music, definitely a different vibe, you know. And you may not even use this. You may use different tools that add up to a string of plugins like this. So let's go ahead and listen to it. Okay, now we're going to go back to our maximizer, and we're going to go ahead and dial in that threshold, which is now going to get it closer to where we want volume-wise. So we have our level mixer, a meter on, and we want to hit this right here. So if I hit play, this level needs to come in here, and this is going to stop it from clipping at the at the unity gain. So let's go. Let's bring it up. Now, I'm sorry if I'm blowing your ears, but we are mastering now, so you may want to bring the volume down on your headset there if you're getting blown out here. But let's play it again. This is sounding pretty good, guys. I mean, the artist Mason EL Conductor did a really good job on giving me some very decent stems to do this tutorial. I think we're just about there. I mean, there's some tweaking I would need to go back in and dial in by using the FabFilter Pro EQ3, but we're going to go ahead and stop right here and just kind of listen to it from here and let it play out. And again, if you like what you are seeing and hearing, definitely follow me on my YouTube channel and share. It means a lot if you leave some comments. I'll leave some information about EL Conductor's work. And follow him too. He's a really good artist. He's going to be moving back here to California. We're going to be doing a lot more collaborations together. He's also one of my DJs on my latest album, Hometown Heroes, and I'm really happy to have him featured on a few tracks. He does a battle with another really good beat jugglist by the name DJ Rated R, but now goes by DJ Scratch Miyagi. It's pretty classic. So these guys battle it out on one of the tracks. He also scratches a lot with another artist named Too Ugly, who's on Fat Beats. So yeah, follow EL Conductor on his IG, and I'll definitely put some credits down in the description. But thanks for listening, and let's play this out.